Welcome back to Card Watch. MTG market updates brought to you daily. What cards are going up? What cards are going down? This is the place to stop and find out. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for stopping by the channel for another daily dose of Magic MTG Finance updates. If you're shopping using TCG Player, don't forget that the Moxman does have an affiliate link found in the description of every video. You click that link, it takes you for shopping, and you're supporting the channel. Thanks again, everyone. Our first card today is brought to you by Phyrexia. All will be one, and it is the Venerated Rot Priest, and that is the extended art edition. Remembering how expensive this card was and still seeing it played almost every time I'm at my local LGS tells me this card could rebound pretty quickly, and it is happening today. This card has had a 67.67% increase, bringing the total value to $5.03, and a reminder that all these prices are in US dollars. I mean, we know that the products move so quickly now, we are not seeing new product enter the market. Players aren't buying sealed product to open, so prices like this are actually more likely to rebound than a lot of players understand. Now let's take a look at our next card, and this is Ghostly Prison, and this is the Plane Chase edition from 2012. Now this card, I'll be honest, I remember playing against it in different versions and editions, but when I looked at this particular artwork, I know I've seen it before, I know I've played against it, but I didn't remember it being in Plane Chase. Now, this card still saw an increase though, of 55.91%, bringing the total price to $7.78. Now, cards that are under $10 but above the $5 mark don't really get that reprint equity, nail in the coffin type deal. So there's some good value to be found in a lot of these mid-range, below $10 priced cards that kind of keep them safe from Wizards on a mass reprint cycle, but they are going to end up showing up. Now, our next card today is going to be the Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, and of course, that is from the March of the Machines. Now, when I look at this card, I have seen it a few times being played against me. I have played opponents and beat them quite easily, even though they're using it, but it's still seeing an uptick in value. It's risen 45.63% today to bring it to $9.38 US. A real swing in prices whenever you're under the $10 mark. You will notice that the increases in price seem quite dramatic, but we're still talking pennies on the dollar. It just matters more because it's an under $10 priced card. Now, continued, evaluations of cards like these, we are going to see them played. Players are going to try these things out. And with Standard coming back, don't be surprised if some of these cards do slip above the $10 mark. Our next card is Kennan, the Bonder Prodigy. I did speak about this card as soon as it dropped, way back when Ikoria came out. Now, this is not the Ikoria version, but still, you can see the value there has increased. We're up to $16.41, which is a 28.20% increase in value. Now, Kennan was that card from Ikoria that I spoke about because I was using it with Mox Amber at the time. It was crazy to see this thing bust out because we were starting to see lower casting cost legendary creatures, which of course paired well with lower and faster game states. This is no exception to the rule. Players love using this thing in Commander, so don't be surprised if you see him bouncing up and down in price until he gets a reprint, dropping the price to below $5. Now, our next card today is going to be the Nas Ghouls. These things have been around. Now, these are the Showcase Scroll versions. You can see here the average price has jumped up to $17.59. The artwork is beautiful. Nobody's going to disagree with that. That's a 15.4% increase in price, bringing that total value up. But when I look at these cards, and again, because of the price point of these products for Lord of the Rings, you are unlikely to see a lot of these opened in the next 12 months, which means whatever the initial stock is out there is probably going to stagnate, and as long as players have an interest, the price will continue to uptick, in my opinion. So keep an eye on this card if you've always wanted one. It might be better to buy it now rather than later. Now we're going to stop by the reserve list because we have a lot of reserve list cards that are starting to uptick in price, and we do have to make a note of it so players understand where they're at. I did a bounce back video explaining this, but if you missed that video, here's a little quick take. These cards going up $5 a day is because they have been so low for so long, and seeing something like Copy Artifact, which of course gets used all the time, bouncing around and going up 11.1% is pretty significant, bringing that price point to $48.45. Cards like these that are staple cards in Commander Vintage Legacy decks really shouldn't be ignored because of the finite amount of availability. The supply and demand issue will always come around if there's ever a big buyout of cards, and we haven't seen it now. We're not likely to see it anytime soon, but will we ever see it again is the real question. Now, our next card is from Legends. This is All Hallows Eve. Now, I was surprised to see that there'd been significant sales on this card, and we're seeing a bit of an uptick in price. It's risen on the daily change of $35 a card, or bringing a near mint copy all the way up to $545, which is 6.86% of an increase in price. Guys, this card is one of the first cards I opened in Legends, and I gotta say, it's epic to use it. The artwork is phenomenal looking at that art, but again, that price tag is gonna only have a select amount of people buying the card, okay? This is not a speculator's whirlwind right now. This is definitely a buyer's market, and singles are definitely ruling the day. Now, our next card also comes from Legends, surprisingly enough, but this one is not faring so well. This is Caracus from Legends. Of course, it's been errated, it's been changed over the years, but it's still an amazing piece of artwork. It's still an amazing iconic card to own, and even with all the reprints, it still has good value, but it is falling. It drops today to 49.90 cents, and of course that's a percentage decrease of 7.58%. With the amount we've seen printed, players who want to own the real deal, though, will go back and buy the original edition of this card. It's so beautiful. Again, I remember playing against it. I remember using it, and we didn't have as many cool legends as we do now. So this is just a card you can admire and look at, but realize it's going to get reprinted again if the value ever spikes up. Okay, our next card, Arabian Knights, which a lot of Arabian Knights cards have been taking a hit. So I'm going to touch on this one with Oasis, which again, a weekly change of like $3.48. This card has kind of been going down, and it's been going slowly, but it's actually a little bit increasing in the speed of its decline now. A 9.62% decrease, bringing the price to $32.68 US. Now, preventing damage is always fun, and there's other cards that do it as well. So you can kind of tier these and make it so your creatures can take 4 or 5 points of damage in the right commander build, and it can be hilarious because you can save it or do damage to any creature using Deserts or Oasis. It's a great card, guys. Our next card is coming to us from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and that is Bozuju Who Endures Borderless Edition. Now, these cards, I remember thinking they were going to get banned. It has not happened. These cards are still around, and the value shows it, okay? This thing has a daily change of only a minor loss, but it's still 6.74% of a decrease, bringing the value down to $54.80. This card is primed for reprint. Does that mean we are going to see it in Modern Horizons 3? No one knows at this point, but if it doesn't get a reprint this year, expect cards like this to actually rebound and go back up in price, giving players more breathing room. Expensive cards always demand a reprint, though. Remember that, guys. So that's your daily take on what's happening in the market of cards rising and falling, just like the Age of Empires. Thanks again to everyone for stopping by the channel today. I hope you had a blast as much as I did bringing this information to you. I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. A shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons we have here on the channel supporting each and every day. Because of these patrons, new content and daily content is made possible. So thanks again to those supporters. Guys, have an awesome day. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You have made it to the end, my friends. The unedited portion of the show where I don't do retakes or mess up my word salads. I just go through the motions and say what's really going on. So, Arabian Knights cards are falling, but it is heavily played, damaged, moderately played. It is the ones that collectors aren't after, okay? So that's why we're seeing an overall dip in price, because they don't differentiate pricing. It's just they're not selling, they're dropping in price. Keep that in mind, okay? If you're a person holding on to near mint or amazing Arabian Knights or old school cards like this, you're going to have a good time. Now that said, if you're looking for an All Hallows Eve, look for a moderately played copy if you just want a real deal to play with. You're going to save yourselves a lot of money. I hate when players say, do I need to buy a graded copy? No, because you're going to play with it, right? If you're an investor, speculator, you want to have it on a shelf, I get that. That's cool. Save up, buy a really good copy. But if you want to play with the card and experience using old school stuff like this, save up, but don't buy near mint. Get a card that can be played, but also has a little more liquidity for when it ever does shoot up in price, okay? Keep that stuff in mind, guys. Keep it nailed down and understand your budget. Stick to it. And you know what? We're all going to have a good time. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. Enjoy.